Oh, Warcraft
Dude,
2.
all the layoffs that are happening in gaming, like, at the risk of sounding a little bit cynical, have you ever heard that intention is effortless? You ever heard this? That, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how internally honest and virtuous someone's original intention was.
Yeah.
In a lot of the cases, what matters is the actual execution. Like, for instance, let me take a really simple example. If my wife, every time she was talking, in my head, I was thinking wonderful,
Yeah.
warm, thoughtful, joyous, loving things. And then, when she's like, what do you think? I went, yeah, seems good. That's like basically how I talked. You know, it doesn't matter the intentions. It's like the impact. Stevie, I like that.
Well, he's talking about kind of the same thing, right? Where it's like you have people that they want to talk about their intentions and how good their intentions are because it's easy for them to say that and it costs nothing.
Impact is more important than intent. And I think that in the gaming space, there was a lot of really...
Yeah.
There's been a lot of really poor execution. Just like a lot. Because I think that some studios are being closed down because they got a bunch of money, hired a bunch of people, and then got to work making a very mediocre product, not because any of the individuals that are working on it are somehow the incompetents in the industry, but because the plan being presented was a weak plan.
I think that incompetence goes all the way down to the bottom, and it also goes all the way up to the top. I don't like this narrative that's created that the only people that are making bad decisions and are bad at their job are the people that are at the top, and there aren't individual developers that don't know what they're doing. Because, like, there's all the time, like, little bugs in games that aren't fixed, and it's like somebody, like, did this wrong. It's not like this is some kind of fucking, like, you know, the CEO of the company isn't coming in there and telling them, oh, put this bug in the game. Now, to be fair, let's be fair, right? Like, it can happen indirectly with deadlines and things like that. But the truth is that every project has deadlines. Every project has deadlines. Every project probably has crunch. Whether it's like Elden Ring probably have that.
And I think that there's a huge, well, I shouldn't say I think, there is a documented glut of people that went, oh my gosh, I think games, I think I want to get into games. And I don't mean from like I'm an individual in college studying to become a games programmer or something like that. I mean like people with money going, oh my gosh, we should invest in games. I see that crypto and blockchain stuff has tons of money constantly flowing in and out of it. And it seems like that thing called games that I'm kind of vaguely familiar with, maybe we should just make one of those because it could connect to this well. You know, there's a lot of that sort of behavior. And so,
well, the problem is where that behavior comes from. It's not actually the behavior itself. It's that behavior, the genesis of that behavior is the same genesis of NFT behavior. It's the same genesis of metaverse. And now you're seeing it with AI. So the problem is that it's not created from an internal locus of like principle or guidance. It's caused, and like the reason why it's happening is because this person is trying to do whatever is the most profitable thing, and they don't actually care about the creative integrity of their project. That's what the real problem is. And so like NFTs and crypto games are only a manifestation of that. They're the symptom and not the disease.
I think that there's a substantial number of studio closures that are actually not this result of greed that people love to say. Because, I mean, if you look, it is a bunch of people created a business and they themselves are shutting the business down and losing their own jobs.
Yeah.
But it's like the poor planning, the poor management that sucks. It just really sucks. And I mean, I think that another thing that I think is kind of stinky, and this is a very thing that's very personal to me. Let me share something that's very personal. Okay, you ready, my friends? You ready? I'm about to open my heart to you. You've heard me talk about this before.
Okay.
That sometimes when people will say, "Hey, Sean, I want to become a streamer. What should I do?"
Ooh, big mistake. Uh-oh.
And you'll see advice that is along the lines of get a regular schedule, do collaborations, this sort of thing. And what you've heard me rant about before is that these are kind of like second layer, right? These are second order. The first order thing that you must be good at if you are a broadcaster, or if you are making YouTube videos, or if you're writing a book, or if you're making an album, what you need to do is you need to be incredibly interesting, like every 10 seconds.
True, he's right.
As an example, here's an exercise I want you guys to do. I want you to go download Audacity, which is a audio recording program. You'll probably have a crappy mic connected to some device if you don't have a mic already. And I want you to talk. I want you to set an alarm. I want you to hit the record button. I want you to have no other visual stimulus, nothing on your phone, no videos you're reacting to, just nothing. Just sit there and just talk for 5 minutes. Stop, put it back on, and listen to yourself talk for 5 minutes. It hurts. It's physically painful.
This is the opposite for me. I used to record 2-hour videos of me talking, like in 2009. Yeah, I have hours of them. So by the time I actually started streaming, I had been doing it for years.
Because it's so, I mean, you're just listening, you're just like, oh my God, I'm just still
and at that time, I had been doing it for 10 years, by the way.
Oh God, I'm still talking. That's what people are tuning in for. People are tuning in to be entertained every few seconds. And so, when someone says to me, hey, I want to become a streamer, what should I do? You'd be like, okay, how do you become interesting every 10 seconds?
Here's my advice, is that if you have to ask, you've already lost. Whenever I wanted to become a streamer, I looked at what Kriparian was doing. I said, okay. I saw what Athene did. I said, yep. I looked at Recful and I said, damn. And then I just started streaming. That's all it took. Yeah, I didn't need to turn this into a whole situation, right? It was that simple. Mr. Gaming, thanks for Ray, bro. I appreciate it.
Like, really, like every 10 seconds, I want you to try to be compelling either with your gameplay or with your speech. And let's assume that no one's watching the game.
Yep.
Really figure out how to be entertaining every 10 seconds. Like, there's this sort of core essence of the thing, the first order thing. How do you make the thing good?
Yeah.
And when it comes to any creative product, this is how I think about anything creative. What makes it literally, actually good? The thing itself good.
What makes it interesting? I feel like something doesn't need to be good, it needs to be interesting. Like, compelling. It needs people to, like, want to tune in and, like, care about it. Like, that's one thing is, like, for example, like, this is gonna sound weird, but, like, you think about how many people know all of these, like, weird stories about me. Like the dead rat alarm clock or the barbecue puke shower curtain. Like, and people know this shit and they're thinking about me. The cockroach, yeah, they're thinking about me. They are. I'm in their fucking head. The blood wall, yep, the blood wall. I'm interesting, yes, and you don't need to be, I think as a girl, you have to be attractive. And if you're not, you need to be a VTuber. As a guy, there's a lot more leniency for it.
As an example, if you say to me, hey, we're making a game, we have Kevin Hart is going to do the voice of one of the characters. We also have a distribution deal with a great publisher in China, in Europe, in South America, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, and right here in North America.
Somebody says you don't have to be attractive if you're super funny. That's not true. People will not like you if you're ugly. It's a very, like, low intelligence form of feeling, but it's incredibly prevalent. And yeah, people just won't like you. Straight up. Like, it doesn't matter how funny you are or anything like that. They just will not like you. It's like a trigger for some people. Yeah, exactly. Like, it makes them mad to look at you.
the entire global, everything taken care of. We also have, partnership X, Y, and Z, and we have social features that plug into X.com and Facebook and Instagram.
I also want to make sure that people understand that, like, the reason why I'm saying this is because I've experienced it a lot myself personally. Like, I've had a tremendous, large amount of, negative experience from this. And it's people that, they don't even, listen to what I'm saying. They're just like, oh, this guy's weird looking. Like, what the fuck? I don't want to listen to him. Fuck this guy. I hate this guy. That's it. You don't even get a chance. That's the way it is.
Of everything. Okay, is the game fun? You know what I mean? Is it fun?
Yeah.
Is it actually fun? I think that it's actually quite difficult to do that, but it's not unknowable to do that. And there's this kind of weirdness. And this isn't just games. This is all over entertainment, where people will so consistently be emphasizing and talking about the thing that's easier to describe, which is we have this great partnership with this person. Oh, we have...
Yeah, people love caring about things that don't matter. This is a huge problem that games have. Is that there is a fixation on the water physics and not on the end game progression loop. It's that simple. You downplay yourself a lot. We'll go with the beard. No, bro. I'm not trying to get. You just listen. Just go. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. If you go and you look at a hate thread about me, look at how many negative comments there are about my appearance. Half of them are like that. Half. It is crazy. Now, you might not think I look like a fucking weirdo, but there are a lot of people who do. It is a crazy ratio.
Industry veterans from big company A, B, and C, so that we got players don't play the pedigree of the developers. Players do not play the great partnerships with publishers. Players do not play the celebrity status of the voice actors involved. They play the game. They just play the game itself. Is it good? And,
yeah. He's completely right about this. And this is the problem, is that it's, again, what's easier to do? Hire a celebrity voice actor or make a good game? Well, you just need money to hire somebody. That's easy. So it's so easy to do the easy things, and that's why you see people that are making bad games that try to do things that don't matter. They solve problems that don't exist, that nobody cares about. Things like how the water buoyancy works. Things like, a decay on the side of a ship. Things like the bullet drop of a cannonball. The ballistics of it. These are things that don't matter. A solution looking for a problem? Yeah, exactly. That's important as well. That's never more important than the game. And the problem is that it's put over the game. And for example, there can be a really bad game that has really great water physics and graphics, and it will be considered a bad game. But there can be a really good game that has terrible graphics and physics, and it will be considered a good game. Gameplay is king. If you don't have that, everything else is bad. You've already lost.
I think it's very easy to get kind of sucked into this notion of, it's just a marketing issue. That's all that it is.
Yeah.
This is a perfectly delightful game, but really it's the marketing's the reason that it didn't pan out.
This is another cope by people that don't understand the way marketing works and the way advertising works. Oh, this game would have been really popular, except it didn't get the right marketing. No. Untrue.
10 times out of 10, when there's a game like that, and I've gone and looked at it, it's that the game is just not that good.
There it is. There it fucking is. He's right. Completely fucking right.
It's not horrific. It's just not that good. And in a world where we have
Tower of Fantasy, bro, I'm actually still mad about this. It happened like 2 years ago. I'm still mad at Emmy because she got sponsored by Tower of Fantasy like 5 times. I got sponsored 0 times. And I was on the leaderboard. I was number 2 or 3 on the entire server for the highest clear of like their endless dungeon. Meanwhile, she's like level 34, jumping around. Oh wow, there's a box here. Oh, cool. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I had every mount in this game. No, it's not because she a girl, bro, because Tectone got the same thing. I think they fucking sponsored Soda Poppin'. It's like everybody got it except me. And I was the only one that played the fucking game.
Unbelievable games. Like, oh my gosh, I could go play Dota 2 later. And if I'm not interested in having teammates, I could fire Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
And if I'm not interested in anything multiplayer at all, I still have more stuff to go hunt in Animal Well. Like, dude, there is literally so many amazing, amazing games that being a 7 out of 10, even an 8 out of 10, doesn't really cut it a lot of the time. It's just pass-fail. Is it excellent or not? And therefore, how does one make a game that is excellent? And
I think he's right about that. That's why I didn't sponsor you, because you bothered doing it. You gotta do it wrong first. That's true. Yeah. I gotta stop playing video games, bro. Like, I do. I need to stop playing the game. I need to stop playing all video games unless I'm getting paid. Like, this has got... like, I'm gonna go on strike, bro. Like, except for Elden Ring. Like, yeah, I gotta... we're not gonna play any more video games. Yeah, we're done, bro. I'm going on strike for video games.
Oh, a lot of the, if you go look at a lot of the companies that shut down, full divisions, things like this, not in every case, but certainly in some of them, you would look at what the announcements were 2-3 years before, their early press releases of what they were going to do. You could read about the roadmaps that they had on their Discord. Read about all these other partnerships that they had with person XYZ. And it's just like interesting to me how it's not just games, it's all over the place, in all forms of entertainment, how rarely there is discussion about the actual game itself.
That's because the people that get hired and promoted up come from marketing and not development. That's the reason why. So you have people that are hired to promote a product, but they don't understand the nuance of that product and how it works and how it serves a customer. So you have these people, this is the same thing. Remember the Steve Jobs thing? This is the exact same fucking thing. So you have people that are going and they're talking like, oh yeah, this is, it's got this actor in it. It's got these graphics. Like, these are people that are not gamers. They don't really understand gaming, but they're good at business or they're good at marketing or something like that. So guess what? The game gets a lot of marketing and it's bad. But meanwhile, if you have a good game, you don't need marketing for a good game because it'll market itself. Now, there are games that like obviously marketing can help a game get noticed. And occasionally, like, for example, there have been games that I've played and then it's helped the game a lot. It's boosted the game in a tremendous way. And obviously, like, that does happen, but it's like such a minor thing. And it also, like, for example, there have been a lot of games that I've played and people like really didn't like it that much. Like, I'll give you an example. That's not the right word. Let's see. Do we have anything here? Let me see. I'm going to just go ahead and open this up real quick and just show you guys an example. So I played Inotria. I thought this game was really good. I really liked this game a lot. Guess what? A lot of people in the chat were not as big of a fan. There were people who were very critical about it. If I go back and I look at other games that I've played, New World, I think, is a great example. People were very critical of New World. That's just the way it is. Grand Blue. Yeah, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Like, you can't make people like something that's bad You can only make people realize they like something that's good. You see what I'm saying? Prince of Persia Stolen Crown? Yeah, that's another great example. I thought the Prince of Persia game was great. I loved it. But everybody hated it. It was terrible. People were super negative about the game. It was probably one of the biggest surprises to me in terms of audience reception that I've had.
What makes the game good? And this is why I regularly talk about how much I admire David Wolverton, or David Farland.
Who that?
Who was an author and a writing mentor who did a lot of the business side analytics of things, talking about markets and market sizes and things like this, but was extraordinarily precise and diligent about discussing what are the actual creative properties and creative qualities in this novel, in its first pages, that are doing well or not. One of my favorite books is his book, Drawing on the Power of Resonance in Writing, where he is literally discussing like how to name characters in a way that is emotionally resonant. This is not, oh, hey, sci-fi.
I wish that the people... you send that book to Wuthering Waves. Yang Yang. What kind of stupid fucking name is that? The hell were you thinking? Fucking
works
stupid.
Well with this age group, so you should consider making your fantasy
Dumb
book
as
a
hell.
sci-fi book, right? Again, these are the sort of like outside things. This is like zooming straight into the actual
Kalcharo? I think Kalcharo is
the
cool.
creative act, and making the thing that the customer experience is
It's
making
a
that
Chinese name, man. It's a Chinese name? That's crazy. Are we in China? I'll tell you one thing. If I made a game for China, I wouldn't have John, Jim, and Jonathan probably in the game. I call them something different. I call them something that makes sense for Chinese audiences. Why not? Because they're not going to understand that. They're going to think they sound the same.
good. And so, finally, from all
yeah,
the
there
way
you go.
back to the industry layoffs and things like this, I do sometimes have this frustration when I see some of the businesses that have shut down. Not all of them, but some of them, where it feels like there just was never a focus on the only thing that matters. Not enough focus on the only thing that matters.
Of course they don't focus on the thing that matters, because that's the hardest thing to focus on. Like, yeah, of course. This is the same thing. Like, he was talking about streamer parallels. How many streamers have y'all seen that are like really small streamers, maybe people that you know, and they think that they're going to solve their problem by buying a better camera? That, like, what they really need to do is invest $10,000 into their setup, and then people will start watching them. There it is. This is just like a bigger scale fuck up than that. Yeah, they'll be boring in 4K, exactly.
How do you make the game good? Literally, how do you make it good, period.
That's the only thing that matters.
And hired all the right people, got all the right partners, and then just made a game that was not good enough, and there you go, poof. I don't know. It's one of these things that is, tilts me from time to time.
Yep, or a BRB screen, overlays, yeah.
Well, this is another point, which is there is intention, and then there is process. So, for instance, let's say
somebody's talking about you just need boobs. No, it's actually the opposite. Like, I've seen plenty of girls that had they had like a fucking like a shitty webcam. The worst thing they could have ever done for themselves is buy a good camera. Hey.
Give me a genre. Someone give me a genre that is not Warcraft 2. That is not RTS. Give me a non-RTS genre. Okay, Bruce Malt, MMO. Perfect. Fantastic. This is a really good one. Okay. You want to make an MMO, there is a production side of things, which is that we need to hire engineers to solve the complicated technology needs, which would involve having thousands or maybe even tens of thousands of people in one location at the same time? How do you synchronize this? How do you make sure that you are
simple? You
not
don't
putting too much of a burden on bandwidth
problem
needs?
solved.
Because if you have 10,000 dudes, each of which has 1 megabyte of data that you're trying to transfer every minute, like very quickly you have a prohibitively large bandwidth cost. So we really need to solve a lot of the technical issues and all that. So you know what? We should really hire a technical team right away to get started on that. My God, the M. One of them stands for massive, okay? So we're going to need to have a lot of stuff. We should actually get an art team to make sure that we have enough assets created. Because we're not just going to have enemies and monsters. We're also going to have rocks and trees and water, and we're going to need a whole bunch of needs. So let's get this team built, right? So again, I'm talking about production. It seems like we should hire all these people, but like, what are we making? Very literally, what are we making, and how do we even figure out if it's fun? It can feel, from a production standpoint, intelligent to really grow the engineering and the art team very, 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 very quickly.
This is what happens with a lot of companies, is that companies love to grow and add in more people. And I actually think that this is something that Elon Musk seems to do pretty well, is that how is it that you fire 80% of the staff on Twitter, but the website functions basically the same? Oh, I think I know how. I bet most of the people that you fired had bullshit jobs that didn't do anything. That's the truth. A lot of people aren't really that necessary. And like hiring and increasing the team size should be like the last option. It doesn't? Twitter sucks now? You think it's worse now? I completely disagree. I've had no difference in quality of Twitter. Yeah, I don't. I feel like it's the same.
Because we'll need to make a lot of assets for art. We'll need to solve a lot of tech problems on engineering. So we may as well, we've got to hire them, right? But what happens if they're building towards an unclear target? What's the quote? It's like, if a man knows not to which port he sails, then no wind is favorable. Isn't that the perfect quote? If you don't know what your destination is, it's impossible to make the statement, wow, we did a great 3 months of effort. If you do not know to which
Warcraft
port
2
you
Tides of
sail,
Darkness.
no wind is favorable. Arg, aye, Captain.
Yeah. He's right about that.
And so, it can be very easy to convince yourself, okay, let's make a small-ish art team and a small-ish engineering team while we're trying to figure out what the game is. But again, until we really know...
Dark and Darker use store assets from the Unreal Store. You don't even need good art. You only need a good gameplay loop. That's it. You create a good gameplay loop, and if the... Basically, like, if you create a good gameplay loop, and it resonates with an audience, everything else falls into place. Everything is contingent on that.
What this game is, it's hard to be confident that anything we've made
graphics come
is
last.
actually killing it. And so when it comes to doing something like figuring out what would make a good MMO, like I don't play a lot of MMOs, I don't really know what that would entail. We'll need a problem statement. We'll actually need a problem statement to determine what problem are we solving. What goal, if we meet, would excite and delight players? Concretely, why would they like that? I'm very passionate about this idea because, I mean, frankly, I am not the best at any of the games that I have played. Now I'm going to shift the focus back to content creation. I'm not the best at any of the games that I have played. I am not providing substantial educational value in a lot of regards like I used to. But I'm a good speaker, and I work very hard to be a good speaker. And I think a lot...
This is what a lot of streamers like get mad about. I think this is especially true with WoW streamers, is that they get mad that the most popular content creators aren't the best players. And it makes them mad because they feel like they deserve it because they're good at the game. But the truth is that being good at the game doesn't make you good at streaming. That's it. Nobody really gives a shit about being good at the game. And I think that there are like exceptions. You have people like Shroud and people like Faker. But I don't think that people understand like how much of like an exception those guys are. Like, yeah, like esports Andes. Yes, entertainment is what the reason is. People are there for entertainment primarily. Lots of good gamers have low views. Yeah, exactly.
After every stream of like, man, when was I kind of tired? When was I not doing a good job? How can I like do that a little bit better?
Yeah.
And blah, 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 blah. It's always one of these things that like I experience it very personally. When I've been doing a mediocre job at streaming, I literally can see sometimes in real time my viewership dropping as I'm being a uncompelling speaker. Right now, my viewership has been holding very steady, which is an indication to me that I've been doing a good job of it.
Yeah, of course.
So forth. And so I think that there is.
And I think also like another problem like with streaming is that people don't understand like how like numbers work and how streamers work, like how streaming works. So like for example, like your viewership could go down. Like for example, if you're streaming at night, you're going to on average have lower viewership than if you're streaming in the earlier morning. That's just the way that the graph works. So there are like all of these confounding variables. And whenever I see people that are like, you know, the people that like make these games and stuff like this, what? Yeah, no, that's the way the graphs work. Like, again, like you just look it up, look at the graph. And so the point is that if you do these kinds of things, like you're setting yourself at a disadvantage, right? You're doing this. And so the problem with a lot of these people that make these games is that they don't have the holistic knowledge to actually have insight that has context to it. So like they can understand like one like slice of it, like, oh, viewership went down, then it's because of this one thing. But there's like 7 or 10 other variables in that equation that they don't really understand.
Almost a beauty to that kind of brutality, where if I am not actually providing an entertaining service, people just leave. And I like that clarity. I like the clarity that it provides. And yeah, so finally, to put a little cap on things, I think that in the games industry, I think that there was a lot of poor planning with a lot of incredibly high-quality employees, but a lot of poor planning that just resulted in a lot of businesses shutting down that in a lot of cases shouldn't have been formed in the first place.
Yeah.
Or could have been planned differently. So that's my rant. It's my rants in advance.
I think he's completely right about everything, by the way.
I actually need to pause.
He's completely right. One of the big reasons why these companies get shut down is because they're creating and putting out a product that isn't appealing to an audience, and they don't understand how to make a good game. That's the main issue. It's business in general. Yeah, it is. It's definitely business in general. So yeah.